There's something so menacing to me about a garbage bag with tape surrounding it. So menacing. The garbage bag is torn and the contents are strewn all over. Got the old man key. What's this? Some gossip magazine, eh? The police announced today that Walter Sullivan, who was arrested on the 18th of this month for the brutal murder of Billy LaCane and his sister Miriam, committed suicide in his jail cell on the morning of the 22nd. According to the police statement, Sullivan used a soup spoon to stab himself in the neck, severing his carotid artery. By the time the guard discovered him, Sullivan was dead from blood loss, the spoon buried 2 inches into his neck. An old schoolmate of Walter Sullivan's from his hometown of Pleasant River said, "He didn't look like the type of guy who would kill kids." But I do remember that just before they arrested him, he was blurring out all sorts of strange stuff like, "He's trying to kill me. He's trying to punish me. The monster. The Red Devil. Forgive me. I did it, but it wasn't me." The schoolmate then added, "Nah, I guess now that I think of it, he was kind of crazy." Yeah, ouch, indeed. Yeah, there's something so spooky about a garbage bag just fastened with tape. It's like, what don't you want out? It's probably because you know whatever's in there is wet and, like, disgusting. But, so the Walter Sullivan note. This is where we talk about notes. So, Walter Sullivan does kind of come back Silent 4, but I'll be blunt, I don't think Silent 4 was much of a concept at all at this point of the game's development. Like, say as they were making Silent Hill 2, I don't think Silent 4 was anywhere on anyone's mind outside of the most basic of basic ideas. But I digress. Essentially, it's like, ooh, excuse me. Red Devil? Red Raincoat? The Red Raincoat Killer? Walter Sullivan, convicted sussy baka. Who, Walter? Walter Sullivan is like, he's the main villain of Silent Hill 4, but it doesn't matter. I don't think Silent Hill 4 has any relevance. Essentially, this kind of what I think is the take home of that note is that, one, it's a vague allusion to him seeing Pyramid Head. The Red Devil, James describes as the Red Pyramid thing. Whatever. I think it's like a vague illusion. But the main point of that is Walter Sullivan denies his crime. You know, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I did it, but it wasn't me. Like, Walter Sullivan is, like, clearly in denial about things. Yeah, it's like, I'm confident the Walter Sullivan thing, it's like, oh fuck, what do we have? Anything spooky from the old games? Walter Sullivan? Boom, there he is. Guarantee it. I don't think that was intentional at all. So, this is kind of where I think that doesn't have anything to do with the plot at all. It's just there for flavor. And this is the difference between the note writing of something like, yeah, I killed my master, but I'm not his murderer. Very much so. Walter is just doing his cycles of guilt. But I think this is kind of the difference between Resident Evil note writing and Silent Hill note writing. Where Resident Evil note writing is all plot oriented. It's there to further the plot and the direct lore of the setting. Silent Hill note writing, in my opinion, and I think it's really illustrated here, especially Onward. Yeah, Walter and another important Silent Hill 2 character are exactly the same. They did it, but it wasn't really their fault. I would argue everyone in the cast is similar to that. Not as dramatic as the Walter example of, like, killing 2 kids, but I think this is, like, a thematic element. Yeah, exactly. It has tons of themes of denial throughout. It is very common. But I think what that note is there for is just there to put that idea in your head. That's what the note writing of Silent Hill is mostly there for. It is purely there for thematic purposes. Again, like Dave just said, it highlights one early theme, denial. The cast in this game, they're all very troubled people, and they're all running from something. All of them. And I would argue, like, so, yeah, he was so sick of people calling him Kurt Cobain. It wasn't his fault. Gravity just made the axe fall. Honest. She just fell on the axe, officer. Honest. But essentially, like, if I think this game had any core message and theme or idea, which for all the video reviews that Silent Hill 2 has, no one really says what's the main fucking point of the game, which is my niche. But I think what Silent Hill 2 is about is it's about, like, you know what? We'll save it. We'll save it. There's additional information in the hospital, like, right at the very beginning, that I think starts to set up what the main theme and main idea of Silent Hill 2 is. We'll get to it when we get to it. It's just worth noting, this is setting up denial as a big aspect. Do you ever think there will be a new Silent Hill game? Eventually, there's going to be a new Silent Hill game. Silent Hill's basically confirmed. Fuck off! But, I think it is inevitable that there is going to be another Silent Hill game. It is completely inevitable at this point. It's gonna happen, right? Now, do I think the most recent rumor is real? No. I don't think that's happening whatsoever. Like, I think Abandoned is just a game from an opportunistic studio with a nothing in first-person horror game trying to cash in on the Kojima-confirmed rumor conspiracy mill of YouTube for free marketing. Yeah, themes? Concept? What the hell is the dude talking about? The boss just killed themselves. It's so stupid. How could anyone like this game? The town just made him stupid, and I killed him with a sword, bro. Yeah, new game produced by Hideo Kojima. A pachinko machine. Unironically, if they made Silent Hill Pachinko 2, I'd be very happy. That original trailer, without joking, without exaggeration, that trailer is the single best thing with the Silent Hill name on it. It sends like Shattered Memories. I adore that trailer. It is the funniest shit in the world. Every time I watch it, I will laugh. It makes me so happy. Did you see the camera hack to reveal at least PT was always behind you? Yes, and that's, you know what? I'm not the biggest PT fan in the world. That's pretty good. That's pretty fucking scary. That's pretty spooky. Yeah, imagine writing a novel. Imagine writing the novel and not understand, being a published author and not understanding. It's not just a novel, he's written several books. Exactly. It's like, imagine being a published author and not understanding the concepts of, like, subtext. Like, for fuck's sake. How could you not understand? Like, this... The thing is, like, I don't think Silent Hill 2 is a particularly subtle game. I don't. Like, I think it makes its ideas and themes plain as day obvious. It's the fact that Joseph Anderson missed it as hard as he did, I will never... I'm more baffled than mad, honestly. Yeah, it's like from the moment it starts, she's twitching right behind you. Yeah, it's super scary, man. I'm not the biggest PT guy. That's good. There's no fire escape outside the door. In what's-his-face defense, Joseph Anderson, the very popular YouTube essayist, I suppose. I'm sure to pick up subtext symbolism. Anything David Lynch made is basically babble to me. And here's the thing, that's fair. Like, it's fine to look at David Lynch and say, I just straight up don't like this. It's like, this is the epitome of not for me. I don't like what he's making. The point isn't like, to me, it's like, I always hate the you didn't get it argument. And the reason I hate that is, essentially, it's like someone saying, I don't like it. And their response is, well, you just didn't get it. It's like, okay, well, first of all, clearly it's not speaking to me if I didn't get it. But even if, like, let's say I did get it, but I don't like it. It's like, what's your argument now, right? Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Doki Doki Literature Club. I fucking get it. I understand what Doki Doki is trying to be about. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much, and I hate that it was popular, and I hate that people tried to peer pressure me into playing it. And when I said, it's not for me, they said, oh, well, you're just, like, being so close-minded, and I fucking played it, and I fucking hated it. Fuck that game. But, yeah, like, David Lynch is a good example, where it's like, there is perfectly valid reasons to say, yeah, fuck David Lynch. He is not I hate his style of filmmaking, I hate his style, like, acting, direction, I just don't like him. And this is coming from someone who loves David Lynch. Like, some of his movies are my favorites, like, Blue Velvet, which you talked about previously, that's one of my favorite movies. I love Blue Velvet, but if someone comes to me right now and says David Lynch fucking sucks and I hate everything he's made, yeah, because it's not for everyone. So in Joseph Anderson, it's like, the problem with Anderson is not like him just not enjoying Silent Hill 2. If he's just straight up like, this is the epitome of not for me, and I don't like this game fucking forever, fine. Silent Hill 2's got a lot of problems. We've been talking about a few of them. Yeah, I hated Twin Peaks: The Return. Exactly. I love Twin Peaks: The Return. I love that show. I could easily see someone looking at that and saying, this is the fucking worst. David Lynch fucking sucks and I hate everything he's made, but I'm like, God, dude. Fair enough. But it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, we're getting the gambit here. Like, yeah, you like David Lynch, but everyone else here is like, yeah, fuck David Lynch. So it's like, you get the gambit with him, and it's like, it's fine to look at something like Silent Hill 2, which is made for a very niche audience that Anderson is not a part of, to say, I don't like this. This is not for me. Fuck this. That's perfectly reasonable. For him to say that there's nothing here, that there's fucking nothing at all here, it's all town made him stupid, you just kill Pyramid Head with the sword, symbolism sucks, there's no such thing, it's stupid. And I know what he was doing. I know what Anderson was trying to do. He was trying to get his fucking rabid fan base to gather around and support him, and then he was going to make a Silent Hill 2 is not a masterpiece video, and that would be the literal fucking title of his, like, 10-hour Silent Hill 2 review, where he would do nothing but miss the point and shit talk it, and if you point that out in the comments, he just smugly screen cap it and talk shit on Twitter. That's it. That's what he would do. I know that was his goal, and he only didn't do it because chat flipped on him. That's it. I know what that fucking snake was planning. You have to enjoy visual novels to enjoy Doki. I like visual novels. I hate Doki. Okay, Bob, have you seen my video on Doki Doki Literature Club? It's like, because I don't want to talk about much of the stuff too much, because obviously, like, I'm kind of holding everyone up. Like, yeah, there's no fire escape, but I'm kind of holding everyone up. But I do like visual novels. I just think Doki itself is poorly handled and bad. So what's interesting is, one, this would not exist in the real world. No land management would allow for this. But second of all, this is one of the transitions in Silent Hill 2 that I appreciate is, before we go to the toilet, let's look at this. This apartment is way more fucked and ruined than the others. And we're gonna go in the hallway, and it's very similar. Like, it's way worse out there. So, I think so this is, okay, look, I'm talking over myself because I'm trying to keep a chat too, but we'll talk more about this in a second, but I find it interesting how this place is way more derelict and decrepit, on top of the fact that it's like this wouldn't exist. Like, no building management would allow buildings to destroy fire escapes and get built neck and neck like this. Looks like there's something stuck inside the toilet. We take it out? Fuck yeah, I'm taking it out. I wonder if the guys who made Saw played this game, and this is where they got it from. 14.3.8.1. 14.3.8.1, okay. It's Eddie's previous barf toilet. Of course. Bam, there we go. Alright, so we are stacked for handgun bullets for pretty much the rest of the game at this point. If Lynch's goal is to make weird, trippy shit that kind of creeps you out, then he succeeded, and I love it. If his goal is to have some sort of symbolism or deeper meaning to it, then I totally don't understand any of it at all, and don't get why he wouldn't explain anything. I could definitely see both sides of the argument. I think there, like, is some Lynch... the best way I've described Lynch is... there is meaning to Lynch's work, but what David Lynch's themes are very simple, very broad ideas. Like, his themes are very simple. It's, okay, so right off the bat, Twin Peaks: The Return. This is technically spoilers for Dave, but I'm going to be as very muted and blunt about it as possible. The main theme of Twin Peaks: The Return is a critique of nostalgia and the idea of this rose-colored past that was just always better. And if we could just go back to being that, everything would be fantastic. That's what Twin Peaks: The Return is about. Everything about that show is about this concept. It's just presented in the most abstract, insane, batshit way. That's kind of what Lynch is about. It's like, it's very simple ideas presented in a crazy, batshit way. So here's where we're seeing the apartment. I'm trying to talk. Get out of here. But this place is waterlogged. It is completely damaged. It is in absolute disrepair in comparison to the first one. That's hilariously meta for an old fan favorite show coming back. Exactly. Exactly. That is exactly why he chose Twin Peaks as the vessel for this idea. There is that, at least to me, that is that's what that show is about. I almost said that game, but that's what that show is about. We have doors boarded up in much more horrific ways. So here's a question for you guys. His goal is just to take a dump on fans of the original show. I don't think it is, because there's moments of genuine love for the original show thrown into it. Like the scene where Bobby Briggs thinks about Laura for the first time in decades, probably, after like trying to ignore that. And the Angelo Badalamenti score comes back. And it's like, yo, that's a nice moment. That's a very nice moment for fans of the show. So it's like, I don't think it's supposed to shit on it. The problem is people living in the past and refusing to move on from it. That's kind of the... Yeah, there's that stagnant water. There we go. Ankle-deep stagnant water. Waterlogged. We have what appears to be mold on the ceiling leaking down, which is a result of... Which, again, mold in general is a result of stagnant water a lot of the time. This kind of like rot seeping in through it. But do you guys think this is the Otherworld? So, for a refresher, the Otherworld is basically like the nightmare dimension. Like in Silent Hill 1, it's like the chains and the blood and the rust and everything. Do you think this is the Otherworld? Because Silent Hill 2's Otherworld, when we get the one true transition in the show, in the game, it is like this but more dramatic in the hospital. We will get the one Otherworld transition, but here we see like the fumigation tarps again. Everything's waterlogged and rotting. Do you think this is the Otherworld? Because if so, I think that's fascinating. Because what Silent Hill 2 is doing is it is transitioning to the Otherworld without making you aware it's happening. And the game will do this frequently, to the point where by the end of it, what the Otherworld is and what it isn't, like which is the Fog World, which is the Otherworld, honestly becomes kind of unclear by the very end. There's a note stuck on the door. Dear Tim, I have to run an errand, so I'm gonna go out. I left the house key with Uncle David. You know where he lives, don't you? The key is in the room near the first floor staircase. I'll be back as soon as I can, so please watch the place while I'm gone. Alright, let me turn pages here. Ooh, we're 3 hours in and we're not even done the apartment? Man. Honestly, I think I know of a good cutoff place for today. I think I got an idea. I think I know where we can stop. We're making good progress from what I was expecting, though. And I know Dave is going to say, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because by any rational standpoint, this is, like, terrible, terrible progress, but in my defense, there's a lot of stop and talk. Oh, already been in there. Considering that James' version has a lot of water in it, this is definitely Otherworld. I love the whole effect of hearing drumming and then seeing a mannequin frozen in place. And it's so good! It's so fucking good! Yeah, so we just want to go down. We want to go to the staircase. But here's the thing. I don't have a map of this area. That's interesting. Again, this is nothing. This is just a little visual detail, but this to me shows that Silent Hill 2 is a labor of love in a way that a lot of games aren't. You got the map of this apartment building, but it's a much thinner one. Well, here's the thing. What does he do? He folds it over. So he folds them together. I love this. This is fun. What if there is... what if there's an in-between, an inner world, if you will? Real world, inner world, other world. And the inner world is where everyone interacts outside their own real other worlds, like Convergence. I think that might be the fog world, honestly. Because, like, it seems like everyone sees the fog world. It seems like everyone seems to have some concept of what that is. Like, oh, it's not... Like, Angela comments on the fog to be in them. So I think everyone has a concept of that. So that could almost be, like, this common hub. Which, to get into that Jungian / persona idea of the collective unconscious, that could be neat. That is interesting. Mold can represent decrepitude and decay. That is absolutely 100% intentional. These are the creeper bugs. Unfortunately, I don't have much to say on the creepers. They are... Look at that shit. I never really thought of it as a hard change, more like a spectrum of fucked upness. I think Silent Hill 3 has, like, really, really, really hard changes, but that's Silent Hill 3. That's just, like, intentional for that game. Alright, so here we have the puzzle. We'll come back to this, though. That's very much intentional for the mold, and we'll talk more about mold and stuff specifically later when we get a better look at what I think is the most hardline depiction of James's Otherworld. At least in, like, the traditional Silent Hill 1 sense. The creepers, they're Minecraft's Grim Reaper. Yeah, they're kind of the bugs. Even the art staff kind of admit they were just a holdover. This puzzle can eat infinite turds on every real difficulty above normal. Yep. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. On normal, it's pretty easy. It's pretty nice. The creatures represent James' hatred of kids. That's why they sound like shitty wind-up cars and keep bumping into him. God, James hates kids. Ooh. Nice. Well, speaking of children hatred. Hey, buddy. We're gonna go to this room. I'm pretty sure, like, the creepers are just intentional holdovers from Silent Hill 1. Even the art, like, there's elements of this game that are just like, hey, Silent Hill 1 did it, so... well, I'll talk about the big one at, like, the very end of the game. Where there's a big moment where it's like, yeah... Silent Hill 1 was like we just wanted to have this from Silent 1. We thought it was cool. It doesn't make any sense in context. We should have taken it out. There's a very big one at the very end of the game we'll talk about. Oh god, my throat is gonna dry again. It's been like an hour. Ugh, brutal. I'm doing that Nathan Explosion voice now. Oh, excuse me. The final boss. Okay, not the final boss. The dual, obviously it's like, it's kind of spoilers, but fuck it. It's the dual pyramids encounter. There is a very obvious element in that boss room that if you see it, if you notice it, it makes your mind kind of spin in circles. That's what it did for me. It's like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. I recognize that. Oh shit, what could that mean? And the answer is, it doesn't mean anything. The art director, Ito, put it in because he thought it was cool. He regrets the floor. It's the seal of Metatron in the boss arena. It's like, Ito, he fully admits, yeah, I thought it was cool. It means nothing. I regret putting it in. I wish it wasn't there. Like, it's very unfortunate, but... So this is a very interesting. Dave likes this scene that we're going to see someone here. I agree. I love the framing before you go in, though. This is fascinating. Okay, I love this shit. So, we have two doors side by side. Right off the bat, there's something wrong about this. We haven't seen this kind of, like, door. This sort of, like, door placement. We'll see it in this apartment only, but this is the only time where you can interact with a door that is placed like this. And we only see it in what is presumably the other world. So this is interesting. This is interesting. So what we have here is a door boarded up from the outside. The idea is like, whatever's in here... Oh, I can never notice the white door. Yeah, it's like, to be fair, it is kind of hard. And you go into the map, it's like, it's right beside it, so it kind of looks like, oh, maybe it's just the same door, but no. But what we have here is two doors side by side, where we have the plain white door, near pristine, or at least as pristine as this environment will allow, with this other door. Now, I think that's black. I've heard other people say that's navy blue. The color doesn't itself matter. The idea is that it's a darker shade in comparison to the door on its left-hand side, our right. And it's blue to me. Yeah, so I've heard both. Like, I say black just because, like, black, white, kind of that, the piano keys thing. Ebony and ivory, whatever. But... I think the idea is supposed to be, it is a dark color. I don't think there's ever another place in these apartments where the doors are side by side. There's one more, I'll make sure to point it out. There's one more. You can't interact with it, though. So it could just be reused assets, who knows. But whatever is here, in this darker shade of a door, much more decrepit. There's a lot more dirt on it. A lot more marks, more wears. And it's covered up, boarded from the outside. So whatever's in there, you don't want to see it. You don't want to know it's there. But you know it's there because the boarding's outside of it. Almost like there was a hole here. But it's gone now. Right next to it. What do we have here? Stuffed animal. It probably belonged to the kid that used to live here. Okay, I'll make sure to read this comment after this cutscene. Because... I think what's in... I'm not sure if I agree, but I do think that's an interesting way to look at it. But I'll make the point when we get in here and we see what's actually in here. So the idea is like... This childhood object is next to the door that's boarded. It's like almost associating these two. Right next to it, though, you have this really appealing white door. It's like ivory, nice white one. It's open. There's barely any scratches or marks on it. But what's in there? Well, there's only one thing in there. It is a single room. There's only one thing in there. Let's go find out.
I'm James.
Angela.
Angela, okay. I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? But you're the same as me. It's easier just to run. Besides, is what we deserve.
No, I'm not like you.
You afraid? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Did you find your mother?
Not yet. She's not anywhere.
Did she live in this apartment building?
I don't know.
So, all you know is she lived in this town.
What did you say? How do you know that?
Well, I just figured, 'cause this is where you're looking for her. How else would I know?
Yeah,
Am I right?
I'm so tired.
So, why did you come to this town anyway?
I'm sorry. Did you find the person you're looking for?
Not yet. Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, she's dead. I don't know why I think she's here.
She's dead?
Don't worry. I'm not crazy. At least, I don't think so.
I've got to find my mama.
Should I go with you? This town's dangerous. Now I know what you meant back there in the cemetery.
I'll be okay by myself. Besides, I'd just slow you down.
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure. No problem.
If I kept it, I'm not sure what I might do. I'm sorry. I feel bad. Please don't.
So we just got a knife, and we got the old man. So we got everything we need. We can now complete the level. Let's look at. Oh, I should use that. Let's look at the knife here. Okay, so knife from Angela. I don't plan on using this as a weapon. The blade is stained to something red. Okay, so here's an interesting detail. Oh, I'm not. Bam. Okay, but here's an interesting detail. Notice how Angela has no red marks on her whatsoever. She's not bleeding. It would have shown. Just food for thought. Let's go back through chat. The horizontal wood boards would be enough, but that vertical board is certainly extra. Yeah, like I think that's intentional. It's like it's a poorly made cover hiding something. Where have we seen that before? There's a monster in there, isn't there? Depending. Yeah, that emulation hiccup, I legitimately almost had a heart attack there. Like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. I like how James immediately infers suicide. I'd be more concerned about her stabbing me as my first impulse. One, yeah, she looks like she's ready to stab a bitch. But Two, that is interesting. The first place James' mind goes, in front of a mirror, mind you, a giant, room-sized, full-length mirror, is suicide. First place his mind goes. So this is... Alright, so I talk about shot framing a lot. We're going to be talking about how scenes are shot a lot. This is excellent framing for this cutscene. Throughout the vast majority of it, until he shows Angela the picture of Mary, we're not seeing James. We're seeing a giant reflection of James, and as he's talking to Angela, he's having to talk and look at himself the whole time. Perfect. C'est magnifique. So, that's awesome. But, once again, you know, it's easier just to run. It's setting up another aspect. We have denial. We have aversion. Escaping your problems. It's easier to run, and we deserve it, so may as well, right? I love how she says we. It's like she knows something we don't. Very interesting. It's usually that James is the only one that consciously knows the person he's looking for is dead. Yeah, it's very interesting. And there's... Okay, so, Wes, real talk, hold on to that thought. We're going to be talking to another character today with this information in mind. That is very fucking interesting. Yeah, bad girl, Lamau. Like, yeah, Angela... Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I've been bad. I'm sorry. Like, she apologizes so many times and is clearly extremely skittish, distrustful of James. The second he infers any information... She assumes, like, he just knows it because, you know, like, oh, how the fuck you know that, buddy? Very interesting. The only knife you can't use. Upsetting hardcore survival horror runners everywhere. I didn't even notice the mirror. It's like, the thing is, James has to look at this the entire time. And this is the only other time in the game you're going to get a mirrored scene like this. The very beginning, and here. James points out how dangerous the town is, but would rather take a potential weapon away from Angela. He assumes that she was using it on herself, but I think the context clues can tell us, that's maybe not the case. Will you hold it for me? Stabs him in the chest. Funny, but keep in mind. Yeah, you know it's there, but you didn't think about it at all. This is why this game is so fucking good. It doesn't hammer this into your face. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a subtle game, but it's not overt. Like, it's not forcing these things down your throat like I'm doing right now. Like, I'm being obnoxious about it. The game just lets it sit. Love this, dude. Love that shit. So all you know is she lives in the town. What did you say? How do you know that? James just goes Columbo. Hey, come on, you know. Make an inference here. But, alright, so here's the thing. So we talked a little earlier how, like, okay, so we have this door that's, in my opinion, is associated with childhood. Blocked off, poorly covered. You know it's there. You really do. But it's gone now. And right next to it, you have this, like, comparatively pristine white door that you can go through. Angela's in here. I wonder if we're seeing something that's maybe not indicative of James exactly. And this is the first time we're seeing kind of that Wes idea of some crossover between people's personal hells right now. But what's interesting to me is the only thing of note in this room is a giant mirror. You have okay. You hide from your past. The only thing you can do is go face yourself. There is nothing else here, and you can't hide from it. The mirror's too big. You can't hide from it. You will always be seeing it. Very interesting. Okay, going down. Yeah, it's like, well, worth noting, like, she apologizes constantly, she doesn't want to bother him, but she's also extremely distrustful of him at every turn. So it's like, don't forget, she was terrified and scared shitless on eyesight of James at the very beginning of the game. So the question is, like, is it distrustful of James, or is she distrustful of men? Food for thought. And let's see, can we find the last item in here? Yes, we can. Yeah, James saying there's always another way, he has to say it to himself. Like, every single time saying, there's always another way, I'm not the same as you, I'm nothing like you. He has to look at himself to say it. Throughout the whole conversation. And we don't get a shot of James outside of the mirror until he's talking about Mary again. Yeah, she reflexively went for the knife. And she apologized for it. She knew it was like, oh, it was so wrong, but whatever. And she just left a photo. What we have here is a torn family photo of a mother, father, 2 siblings, a daughter that we can visibly see, and a folded over one. Daughter and the mother are together. Brother and the father are away. Huh. Wonder whose that is. Well, not much left to do. She only turns around after asking if James is afraid. Yes. Yes. She says, are you afraid? While looking at herself. Interesting. Like, this fucking game. How many video games? Put me on a list of how many video games you can have thematic conversations about the way the fucking camera is placed. Come on. How did Joseph Anderson miss this shit? God damn it, but how many games can you do that in? Alright, so, but there's another interesting detail that we're going to get to in a second about the knife specifically. Oh, wait, no, I gotta do the key. I gotta do the coin puzzle. I am a fool. I'm a foolish fool. I jumped the gun. No, the town just made everyone stupid. Duh. There's no such thing as, like, denial, hiding from your issues, reflexive coping mechanisms. Nah, fuck that, stupid. It's like, yeah, 1-800, come on, guys. I don't know, it's like, it's... How many games can we genuinely have these conversations? I honestly can't think of many. Like... yeah, exactly. It's like, and you know what? Here's the thing. You might not have noticed it, but it's like the red letter media saying goes. You might not have noticed it, but your brain did. And your brain kind of puts the idea together that these people might be having more similar issues than they care to admit. Such a cool idea. Wait, we should read this first, to be fair. Three bright coal. Oh my god, my throat is killing me. 3 bright coins and 5 holes be. At one end sits the seducer, she. The wind from behind, the woman doth play. The formless one, no, lies furthest from there. The old one beside the serpent sits not. 'Tis to the prisoner's left that he doth rot. That's why symbolic stuff needs to be explained. Brainless like me flat out won't pick up on stuff like that. Well, the thing is, like, I don't think it's necessary for understanding the core ideas of Silent Hill 2. I just think it's so fucking interesting how much this game puts little seeds like that in front of you. And it's like, even if you don't notice it, your brain kind of picks up on something. It's like, I love it. I love this fucking game. Don't know if you guys can tell. Okay, so the order is Snake will go in the dead center. No, actually, wait, no, it's wrong. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. The snake goes over here. Oh, shit. Yeah, so the user interface is probably the most frustrating thing about this puzzle, but no, let's see. The prisoner goes in the dead center. My brain doesn't. No, I think most people are going to get, like, what the main idea of Silent Hill 2 is by the end of it. Except, you know, unless you're Joseph Anderson and you just are deliberately trying to ignore it. That's really dumb. Everyone knows that everyone is 100% honest all the time and speaks exactly what they mean with no barriers set up. Everyone is always literal. Symbolism is fake. I am Joseph Anderson. And it's like, I try not to shit talk people too much because, like, clearly the guy's successful and what he's doing, and he's doing something right that I'm not, obviously, right? But it's like, in this one specific incident, it's like, I'm genuinely baffled how you missed the point that hard. And, like, I still maintain he was deliberately missing the point because he's trying to make the controversial hot take video so he can be the hot take man. But he didn't do it because everyone in his chat flipped on him and he couldn't handle he couldn't handle not having an echo chamber. Oh, interesting. We're not going to get all of those, but that is because we're playing the Director's Cut / Greatest Hits Collection version. And that is an ending for New Game Plus that they added in this version. I crap my Planet Spinning Horror games. Fair enough, man. I think this game is more sad than anything, if I'm being honest. Like, it's morose. It's more dark than gray. Add an hour to every video, of course. Just add an hour. It'll make my channel, like, popular or something, and I'll just repeat myself. I'll have like 10 minutes of content, and I'll repeat it for an hour. Genius. Pick 2 points, copy paste them 4 times. Just tap your head, just like tap, 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 tap. Linehouse key, obviously a reference to Adrian Lyne, the director of Jacob's Ladder. So I said that you did see that 2-door pattern again. You saw it here. Here we go. Difference is both doors are covered now. Is there an item? No. Alright, like, listen. If you're just here, shitpost, I'll wait. I don't know how much I say this because I assume they're either dumb or lying to me always. Based. Unironically, that's based as fuck. Apartment stairway key. Save the game. There we go. Is this the HD edition? No, this is emulating the PS2 version. We were going to play on original hardware. Unfortunately, I had some issues setting up the audio. Kind of just messed itself up. So I tried playing the fan-made HD PC remaster. That didn't agree with OBS to add all those mods together. It was quite demanding. So we're emulating. It's not great, but it's serviceable. It gets the job done. Alright, so we're going to have another big stop and talk in just a second here, but I just want to make another point. James has the knife. Keep this in mind. This is an interesting parallel I never noticed until recently. So I'm just going to shut up for this. Here he fucking comes, boys. Alright, so let's go in the pause menu, and let's do a little chatting. So here's Pyramid. Here he is. So I never noticed this before, but Pyramid Head doesn't get the great knife until James himself has the great knife, has Angela's knife in his possession. He was unarmed up until now. So I don't know why Konami has to be an ass. This series is awesome. It could have been lucrative. They kind of just gave up. I think Konami legit just gave up on video games. You can't tell me they didn't. They both have knives. Kino. Dude, they're gonna have like a sword fight like DMC3. It's gonna be sick. But it is interesting. Like, Pyramid Head now has the Great Knife, and that's the name of that weapon. James has Angela's knife, and both of them are now almost matching inventories in a weird way. But the knife is the important element. That's interesting. He was unarmed up until now. And of course, yeah, the talent for the Silent Hill series is gone. Yeah, anyone who could have made it. Anyone who could have made it is gone. Yeah, he does not get the knife until James gets his. Interesting. Almost like there's something of a connection between James and Pyramid Head. I don't know. Look into it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm surprised YouTube didn't shut down the stream. That was clearly closed sex. Exactly. Pyramid Head was straight up just... He and that monster were having some fun, you know? And it's very explicit what was happening. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm just going through my notebooks here. Does James get a spear later? No. Yes, he does, actually. Okay, well, one, yes. It's optional, but you can get one, technically. But two, what makes it more interesting is the comparison to the Great Knife, which we'll go over in a second. I think the Pyramid Head's Great Knife specifically has some pretty interesting symbolism. Pyramid Head's a bottom feeder. He's Pyramid Head. He's having fun, man. Yeah, he's chilling. Just having a night out, and James interrupted it, so he's got to go. Okay, so... Or is the spear analogous to his dick? No, I think the spear is analogous to something different, but we'll get to it tomorrow. No spear unless you count the iron pipe. That's what I was thinking. But we'll get to it later about what I think the equivalent of the spear is. Let's look at Pyramid Head for now. Let's get a good look at him. So what you have is like this massive powerhouse, essentially invincible, but he's slowly lugging around this giant burden, this heavy weight that he cannot leave, he cannot give up and leave behind him, and he is troubled with carrying it around everywhere. There it is. That is a one-hit kill, by the way. If you get hit by that, you're done. It's over. But the spear is Pyramid Head's actual weapon, which he only gets after James goes to the Historical Society and remembers details about him. No, Pyramid Head gets it in Brookhaven, and we'll get to why I think he does later. But essentially, what you have is this heavy weight that he has to carry and lug behind him, and it's burdening him, it slows him down, it looks like it's painful to move. Like it almost looks like his shoulder is just kind of like rejecting the motion. I'm gonna say what I think the knife is. It is this... I think it represents James carrying around the idea of Mary, where Mary is the Great Knife, as this like large, heavy burden of her passing away, and the grief of which James has to carry around with him, the way Pyramid Head is carrying around this knife. Because James didn't get this knife, Pyramid Head didn't get this knife until James got his knife, a knife which James associated with suicide. When he saw Angela had that knife, I like in the movie the Great Knife is a converted wind turbine blade. It's cool, and I still maintain like Dead by Daylight should use the movie design because for a really fun, goofy game like Dead by Daylight. That is perfect monster design. But again, like I think it is, and again, Pyramid Head got the knife after James got this knife from Angela, which he associates with self-harm, suicide. You know, from his own initial gut reaction. Just a thought, just an idea. So I think it represents Mary. I think it would be more symbolic of a certain other burn, a guilt, if you will. I think it represents Mary for items that we'll get in the hospital and for what I think the spear represents. But another thing worth noting is Pyramid Head is going to get you. He's going to kill you. But I don't thought of a huge cumbersome knife being symbolic or anything either. I have some ideas. We'll get to it when we get to it, but what is worth noting right now is that overhead swing, like, let's see if we can bait it again. Get over here. If you're hit by that, that's an instant kill. You're done. It's over. Nah, you won't kill shit. Plank Chad's coming through. Yeah, but if you're hit by that, it's over. But the thing is, it's when you're saying it's like, nah, he won't hit shit. Notice how slow and easy to avoid it is. I think that's deliberate. The idea is that's a one-hit kill. You're straight dead, but you have to let him do it. Like, Pyramid Head is willing to do this great executioner's cleave on you if you stand in place and let him do it and accept it. And that's the only way he's going to hit you. If you put any resistance, he's going to miss. But he's always there. He's always coming for you. Keep that in mind. Getting greedy on plank smacks. So this is interesting. Pyramid Head leaves. Another thing I just want to point out now, since people probably noticed but they didn't say, look at what's in the stairwell. Look what's in the stairwell. Spin. Oh, I just died. Oh, I didn't know he aggroed after that. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I didn't know he did that. Okay, that's kind of cool. I have never seen that before. Damn. Alright, let's go. I remember that fucking me up in the past. I have never seen that. That's actually really cool. Alright, let's rush through this, but what's worth noting, what I want to point out, is if you paid attention, just like we've been seeing up to this point, there is stagnant water. What's the lore behind Pyramid Head having scuba gear under his helmet? Look, okay. Silent Hill's got a big lake, right? Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, let's heal. That fucks you up. Alright, so... oh, auto aim is not working. There we go. Alright, so what I want to do is... you can't progress. You can't progress through here at all. This is a dead end. And Pyramid Head now leaves. We still have a shitload of handgun bullets. We're good for the game. And he will now walk through the stagnant water and leave. He's done. I don't want to trigger that again. Fuck. Yeah, he's gone. But what Pyramid Head does is he gets rid of the stagnant water. He forces out because he unlocks the door down here and lets the water free. Now you can leave.